What's good, people? I go by the name of K10, and this is Business and Booze. Brought to you by Culture Custodian, sponsored by Tequila, and we are coming to you from Days and Nights Studios. Today I have with me a very interesting person. She's kind of a big deal, even though she might not say she is, but I am saying she is. She's the founder of Eviola & Co. and the creative director of Urban Dice Designs. Omowunmi Imoukhuede. Ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Koye. Appreciate the introduction.
Thank you for being here. And as I said, you're kind of a big deal. You may not agree, but you agree, I mean. I know you agree.
So I'm going to laugh a lot of the time.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Well, this is a chill vibes environment, so please feel free to express yourself.
Thank you very much.
Once again, welcome. Thank you for coming. Thank you for agreeing to be here to, I guess, impart knowledge and just let us know who you are. I'm actually pretty excited for this interview because, as I say, you're kind of a big deal. You've done a lot of interesting things. And I guess a good place to start is that you are an interior designer. Yes?
Well, yeah, interior designer or interior architect, but not an interior decorator.
Aha.
There's a difference.
I hear you. I hear that. Okay. How did you find yourself in interior design, or did interior design find you?
Well, that's a very, very interesting question. So my mom, growing up, she was a landscaper. May her soul rest in peace. She would always sort of handle exterior design projects, right? So growing up, I'd come home sometimes and see like the whole place has changed, even with the interior as well. You know, so it sort of inspired me to look into that direction. And then one day I just sat down and I was like, I think I want to be famous for something, but I cannot sing. I cannot act. It won't work. So maybe I'll try, sort of design, interior architecture, and just see sort of if I can excel with that. And here we are.
And what sort of age was that?
That had probably been like around maybe 17.
Okay.
Yeah, 17, 18. Just right after secondary school, and me understanding or trying to understand rather what next to do, with life and what career paths to chart.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I eventually decided, and then I went to the New York School of Interior Design, and I studied in foundation year colors for interior. So I didn't like the States very much for schooling, but I loved to visit. So I talked to my mom and she was like, okay, let's try Europe. So I applied to a school called Istituto Marangoni.
Okay, that's a mouthful.
Yes, so Istituto Marangoni has a campus in Paris, London, and Milan. So I chose the campus in Paris because I wanted to brush up my French.
Your French. How is the French today?
Je parle français un petit peu. And that's it.
I think everybody knows how to say that one.
But yeah, not to sound too bougie, but yeah. I then went to Istituto Marangoni, but they were not teaching me in French.
Oh.
So it was too hard. And then I transferred to the Paris American Academy, still in Paris, France.
Okay, but there was English there.
Yeah, but nice English. But yeah, that's my tutelage. So my core tutelage is actually interior architecture. The French would say is architecture de intérieur. Yeah, so that's...
So you didn't stumble into this
No.
I think this has been a deliberate path.
Yes.
From early.
Very much so, to be fair. And I then, after uni in 2012, moved back to Nigeria. And the first thing I did was, of course, rent a small studio in Lekki. And then I started my journey from there. So I started with design.
Okay.
And then people would now be like, this thing that you have designed, how much is it going to cost to execute? And then I started interior construction.
Right.
And then when you're doing interior construction, you start to source, materials. And then you're working with installers, artisans, and you're executing projects.
Okay.
And since 2010, actually, I registered my business in 2010, so I was still in second year of uni.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so Christmas, Easter, I'd always be back here trying to do one thing or the other, within the space.
So I've kind of always had the entrepreneurial spirit mind.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I'm an interior architect by profession, but an entrepreneur by hats. You need that hat.
You too.
Especially in Africa. So I encourage you, up and coming, younger ones, just have the heart, and eventually you definitely get there.
Okay. Just hold that thought. Let's not lose it. So seeing as this is business and booze, so the conversation can flow.
Yes.
We're going to introduce the booze element of things.
Kindly.
This is Koye tequila. So cheeky
Can we
toast.
do like a
there we
yes,
go.
lovely.
Cheeky cheers. There we go.
This is yummy, actually.
Right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you guys have like an in-house mixologist or something?
There is an in-house mixologist.
Very
Who's
professional
telling you our
drink.
secret? You are getting inspiration from the...
I used to get his number.
While we're at it...
Lovely cups, by the way. Very creative.
You have... to present you this elixir of life.
Thank you. This is quite thoughtful.
Yeah?
Oh, wow. It has my name on it.
It does indeed.
Oh, you guys are interesting. When it's done, I'll use it as
Quick sip.
a decor piece.
Oh yeah, because as an interior designer, why not?
Yeah, I always have a place for everything.
Fair enough. Okay, so now we've gone from America to Paris. We're back in Nigeria now, right? For people watching, right, are there any projects you've worked on that we might recognize? If you can list maybe 3, maybe 5.
So with us, we do a lot of residential projects and corporate projects.
Okay.
But I try to do a few commercial projects here and there. So, we don't get lost in this space. So I don't know if you know a restaurant called Brass and Copper.
I do.
Yes, we did that project in
wow.
2017. Amazing. And that's Brass and Copper sort of set the bar for restaurants in Lekki at that time. Very, very interesting project, very challenging project.
What were the challenges?
So the whole structure is a container. Or rather, the structure is made out of containers.
I see.
So it's like, when it's a wall, you literally just have to break through, right? But with a container, you are breaking through, you're welding through, you're pushing through. So it was a lot of manpower, on the project.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite projects, actually.
Okay.
And then we did another one within like a year after that, within a year, called Creed by the Brits.
Okay.
Then I don't know if you know the Cornish Hotel.
Yes, I do.
In Lekki as well. We worked on that. And
I think early days you did Shisha Room or something.
Oh yes. I designed Shisha Room in earlier days, and I'm sure there are a few other projects. But there was another restaurant in Abuja called Anne's.
Oh, Abuja as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, let me ask you this. What was the project that made you feel, one, satisfied, and two, like, okay, I have arrived. Let them come and look for me.
To be fair, it's a residential project.
Oh, really?
It's 12 bedrooms, 12-bedroom villa
in
Koye.
Lagos?
Yes. Absolutely stunning.
Huh.
The clients, there's nothing that is the same in terms of material. Every single thing is different. Imagine looking through like 10,000 pieces of furniture.
I mean, so for your creative mind, it must be fantastic working with people that don't have budget. I mean, there's a budget, but within that budget, you are allowed to express yourself.
Yes and no.
Uh-huh.
Because when it's sort of open-ended like that, it's like you kind of clog the project with things that maybe are not even necessary, to be fair. But the good side of that is you would always have quality. So you're not trying to like mix and match or balance things out.
Yeah.
It's, everything will obviously be very tasteful. So that's good. The good thing about having an open budget. But sometimes it can be a bit cumbersome because you are now just searching for different things. If you get what I mean.
Fair enough. If you have carte blanche, sometimes it's good to have structure and a bit of restriction.
Restriction.
Yeah.
And then if you now have to go over, okay, you're going over a little bit. So we try to blow your budget on a budget, if you get what I mean.
So you try to be creative within
okay. Budgets. But not a bad idea, Sha. Especially with this whole dollar problem. Everybody needs cash, but we like to add value. And when for us at Urban Dice Designs, for example, it's all about the value. It's all about how you're putting things together, how things are being done. I keep saying to my team that you might have the best talent in the world. Do you understand? But if you do not have a structure, if you do not plan your time, right? If you do not organize yourself, you're just going to have talent. And you will never really be as successful as you should be in life.
Fair enough.
So those things need to be in place. So it's one thing to be a creative, but it's another thing to understand how the creative business works so you don't get carried away.
Absolutely.
With passion.
Absolutely.
And then you're not actually delivering what you should be delivering, if you get what I mean.
Yeah. Okay, so how would you say your design style has evolved over time? And can you actually speak to us about, or tell us more about Eviola?
Interesting. So, excuse me. I founded Urban Dice Designs in 2010.
Okay.
So fully
That's
gave
a long time ago.
Yeah. So fully gave my all into understanding the industry and perfecting the craft. I did so many free projects, so much research over time. And in the year of 2020, of course, that's a significant year for everyone, pandemic year, I started to think, like, okay, I had then, sort of rented a studio that we wanted to turn into our sort of practical studio where people could experience everything that had to do with interior design.
Yeah.
From design to material placement. So everything in there is supposed to be for sale, but is on display in a tasteful way. So in the pandemic year, I'm like, wait, a lot of our projects are on site. People hardly ever come to the office because they feel like they know the brand, right? So this space that we have, why does it just have to be a space dedicated to interior design? Why can it not transcend into something so much more meaningful and impactful?
Okay.
And then sort of started to think about, how can we do this? Okay, let's create a content creation space, right? And that's how it literally started, as a content creation space. And then now it's like a full-blown tech company, so a full-blown creative technology company.
Yeah.
So Eviola & Co. is a creative technology company that builds immersive digital experiences for working and everyday life, training, learning via extended reality. And it's like, okay, this space can be so much more. Why don't we have an audio studio where we can record digital sound? Why don't we have a studio where we can train people on how to be better at, creating renderings and 2D models and drawings? And why can't we just be, more phenomenal? And why can't we create a company that can sort of design for any and every sector. And when I say design, it doesn't necessarily mean interior design. It could be, virtual reality walkthroughs. It could be augmented reality.
Of what, for example?
Walkthroughs of any type of space. So as an interior design company or as an interior architect, when you hear the word interior, you feel like, okay, it just has to do with residential projects, corporate projects, retail projects, or hospitality projects. Not necessarily. As an architect, you can create anything digitally before it even becomes physical.
Yeah.
So my tutelage allows me to do three things. It allows me design first. It allows me understand implementation, so the difference between the physical and the digital world and how to bridge them. And it allows me understand materials, right? And in our case, we have entities that sort of operate in, those different sectors, but they work internally together. So we're creating an ecosystem around designing or implementation and sort of material placement, material sourcing, and material trading.
Yeah, so you have another company in this ecosystem.
It's called Already.ng. That's an e-commerce platform. So as an entrepreneur, I transcend from interior design and construction to e-commerce, to creative technology, to even social welfare.
Yeah.
Because of course giving back is very, very important. But they're all tech-based, and they all started from a design perspective. You know what I mean? So when you say you're an interior designer, you don't have to limit yourself. There's so much more that you can do with that power and that skill.
In fact, you used the word earlier, create tech. Did you say?
Yes, create tech. So Eviola is a create tech company, so a creative technology company, focusing on how to upskill creators. For example, you have CGI artists right now, so computer generated imagery artists.
Yeah.
Right, and CGI artists are working like sectors, maybe gaming, animation, interior design, architecture. Without that sort of talent or traits, you can't create a rendering. So there's a process, and there are different softwares available, and of course hardware. Hardware is quite expensive.
Yeah, that's what I was getting into. So like extended reality, as you said, it encompasses augmented reality, virtual reality,
and mixed reality.
And mixed reality. So plenty of realities.
A lot.
Doctor Strange. So I'm seeing these headsets, right?
Right.
That's what you guys use.
Yes. So with the headsets, where we are now, we can immerse you in anything that we create. So we call it digital twins. So we could create this whole space digitally. I'm sure your interior designer might have presented to you digitally before it was even executed. And that's, sort of digital representation is the guide for the execution, if you get what I mean. So it doesn't mean that even if it exists digitally, it cannot still be explored, if you get what I mean.
So I come to you and we kind of create, or you bring my vision to life, right? So there's a digital mock-up or image of whatever you've done, but then you can now take me through it.
Exactly. You can be immersed within, the space. Just imagine, right, a young girl up north or up south, Nigeria, right, never been on a plane before, never traveled abroad. With that headset, you can immerse her in a plane, in a simulation. She could be in Paris, she could be in New York. That exposure, the barrier starts to come down.
Yeah, that's
so you're
crazy.
not limited, with that type of technology. And, introducing that into education, not to say that traditional learning methods are not good, but being able to mix traditional learning methods with, immersive technology or creative technology is like phenomenal. Just like what your phone can do for you. Like back in the day, you had to walk into a bank, right, to do the transfer with the teller. Now, nobody walks into banks anymore because you just transfer on your phone, And madam, do transfer now. Like, everybody knows it.
Yeah.
If you get what I mean. Like, even the people that you expect not to know about that type of technology or you think will not know, they know. So technology is a big thing, that Africa especially has to embrace. So for example, Microsoft has invested $100 million, I think, by research between Lagos and Nairobi. So that's Nigeria and Kenya. And they're building African development centers, training our talent, which is very interesting. So a lot more companies need to position to be a part of that value chain.
Which is what Eviola is kind of doing
exactly,
as well.
Because, it's very, very necessary. Back in the day when we talk about the internet, remember when we used to use MSN Messenger, Yahoo Messenger? Look at where we are now. People are having meetings in the metaverse daily, with their avatars. And that's a different world entirely. You know what I mean? Adverts are going on in there. People are trading digital assets.
Yeah.
So being able to have a company in Africa that understands, the intricacies of that world is very important.
And I mean, it's obviously capital intensive because it's not a cheap endeavor, right? So how does funding of this kind of thing happen?
So definitely, of course, anytime you're trying to fund a tech company, you start with your family and your friends, your guys, the people that will help you initially, and then you start to grow. Then you find angel investors.
Yeah.
So probably an investor that is interested in that sector, and they can see your passion for the sector.
And I mean, just from hearing you talk, the passion is spilling out. Spilling.
You know what I mean? And then, of course, you then position yourself, and then you start your different rounds. So you go from pre-seed to seed, and then you go your Series A, Series B, and then you are now VC ready, of course, at that time. But it's a gradual process. So anytime anybody is doing anything and you feel like you're stuck, don't be feeling bad. A lot of people are going through it. I'm one of them. So,
but as you said at the beginning, heart.
I have that heart. That mind. As we did talk about for Nigeria, that mind. You have to have that mind, that heart, to just forge ahead and just keep it moving. According to my mentor, the late Dr. Herbert Wigwe, he used to always say, we're building a generation of fearless leaders. So be fearless and lead and just forge ahead.
You're even gingering me as you are saying this. What?
May he so rest in peace.
Amen.
Dr. Herbert Wigwe.
Amen. Are there any specific influences that you would say shaped your aesthetic, your design aesthetic? Or has this always kind of just come from you?
No, definitely not. Definitely, first of all, my mother. Very stylish woman. Very, very stylish, very organized. Like my mother cannot travel anywhere without putting her shoes in a shoe bag or her bag in a bag.
Yeah.
Like she does. So looking at all of that when I was growing up, definitely, started to shape my mind. Say, why is this woman doing all of this? And of course, traveling a lot. As a child, I traveled a lot.
Yeah.
Because my mom used to always travel a lot because of the type of work she did.
Sorry, which is why this virtual reality or mixed reality traveling thing is actually very good.
100%. Yeah. Because you need to expose your mind. I always tell my team members, Google is your best friend. You're lucky now they've released ChatGPT. Oh yeah.
Ask questions. Research.
Try to understand things. Watch YouTube. Tutor yourself. Learn. You must learn. Life alone is a lesson. What that one that we did in school, a lot of people, what they studied in school is probably not what they're, practicing today. You know what I mean? But life in itself is a full, you're learning every day. My 4-year-old daughter, she's going to be 5 by grace of God this year. She teaches me a lot every single day. Like
you have to be willing to learn.
Do you understand? Another thing, you have to be willing to unlearn certain things so that you can create space to learn new things. And of course, Africans, we are naturally stubborn. So these are the issues that we face. But I wish people would just sort of just be a little bit calmer, chill a little bit more, and understand that your environment is not a barrier. Fortunately, the Western world, when you walk on the road already, you're already inspired. You have parks, you can sit out. I had one of my team members one day, I looked for him, I said, where's Emmanuel? He said he went for a walk. I said, a walk in VI. Where are you walking to? But then I now realized that, oh, shoot, that's my Nigerian side. He should go for a walk.
Yeah, clear
he
your
should
head.
Take a break. Clear your head.
Yeah.
Take a break. being able to, sort of achieve that work-life balance situation or vibe, it's very, very important.
It's like there's something walking through you. There's something walking, because one thing we like to ask on this show is how you achieve work-life balance. What is winding down like to you? What is wellness to you? How do you, when your head is hot, how do you cool it down?
Okay, sometimes I go to the spa. I chill
enough.
out. Sometimes I don't get out of my bed.
Fair enough.
That's just the truth.
Self-care.
Self-care. I have that luxury because I'm an entrepreneur, but as an entrepreneur, you're working 24/7. Even my sleep, I'm seeing designs, I'm seeing inspiration. So if you're that type of person, you need to be able to understand yourself.
Yeah.
Self-awareness is number one. Not to say that you should not get up when you need to get up, but you need to understand how to manage yourself. So the days that you do have to get up, you don't feel like not getting up, if you get what I mean. So yeah,
So interesting you mentioned ideas swirling in your head, right? So as a creative, how is it for you? Because for me, sometimes I have to learn this the hard way, right? You get an idea and you're like, oh, this is dope. I'll come back to it later. And you forget completely what actually popped into your head. Does that happen to you?
110%.
Because so even sometimes something comes to me at like 3 a.m. I actually actively have to open my notes and write it down so I don't forget, because sometimes it's lost and it's lost forever. So what's your approach to that?
To be fair, I always have a notepad, so I write down things a lot. But you see, as I'm writing down things, I also write down things physically with a pen and with my phone as well. So I have it physically and digitally.
Hey.
So that's how I sort of operate. So I'm a bit of an old school lady, but then I also embrace technology as well, and I just try and balance it out. So when that happens to me, I just pray to God, Shada, God, please, if that idea was worthy of me knowing it and developing it, kindly make it come
Run that back.
Run it for me. Thank you, sir. God bless you. So yeah, that's it. I think that's how I sort of approach.
Okay.
That kind of situation.
Random question.
Go ahead.
Do you remember the time? Sorry. Do you remember?
Yeah, we fell in love.
See, something is walking through you. Do you remember making your first million? And do you remember how you felt and what you did with it?
Yes.
Let's go.
That was probably in early 2011.
Okay.
Because I started Urban Dice Design in 2010. And then, yeah, definitely early of 2011. First contract. Do you know what?
Just me.
Let me just you. My first contract I got in Lagos, I was to supply office furniture.
Really?
Yes. And that's where I made that first 1 million. And I changed that money to dollars.
Correct.
Then. And I traveled.
That was
when Naira was
when it was working.
Was Naira. So I remember making that money and traveling with it to expose my mind further, because I probably went to visit a production line in I think Poland at that time for furniture production line. And then spending that money, I felt good. I felt very, very good.
Yeah.
Because I felt like I worked for it. And I was trying to gist you. So that project, you won't believe that they're still using that furniture.
No way.
They now even moved to another location with that same furniture. And then they've called us in now, almost about 14 years later.
Yeah.
14 years now. To say, they want to set up again and they want us to supply furniture.
That is crazy.
Yes, and somebody then said, boss, why should we trust you? I said, but what are you sitting on? The chair you're sitting on, we supplied it to you. So what's there not to trust after all these years?
Better top that top.
So the point I'm trying to actually make is when you put in your all into something, it will definitely show in the long run. You might feel like it won't, but just go that extra mile and it will work out.
Yeah.
In 2022, we decided to expand. So we have Urban Dice Design set up in the UAE currently.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so, and the aim of that was to be able to position as a global brand.
Yeah.
And not just a Nigerian or African brand. And we wanted to be able to sort of service the African market from a global perspective. So we have projects that we're also installing currently in the UAE. So imagine how that is, like playing with like the big guys like Damak and Shoba and Azizi and Bingati and all those type of guys, and sort of being inspired by the environment and bringing the Middle Eastern culture down to Africa as well. We're trying to also do projects out in Kenya and like Namibia to see sort of the opportunities out there.
Yeah.
So the sky is truly the limit, to be fair.
Truly.
Of where you can push yourself to if you're determined. And me saying all of this, it sounds like, oh yeah, she's just saying it. Oh yeah. It's hard. I'm not gonna lie, it's really, really hard. But when you have a passion for something, you just keep going. You get there at some point by God's grace.
I think that is actually, I see something is walking through you. That's a fantastic place to end. And I've had a lot of fun. It has been very...
Me too, actually.
Very inspirational.
Tequila is...
it is.
Oh, yes. This brand is not bad.
We're gonna... Cheers. Quick toast. I think to passion.
Yes.
To heart. And to going the extra mile.
Very important.
There we go.
Thank you.
That's one more thing. There we go. Whew.
It's actually really yummy.
It is.
I'm not even capping.
It is. All right. That was Business and Booze. I know you learned a thing or two about a thing or two. And I told you, she's a big deal.
Amen.
See you next time.
Bye.